Let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
A lot of people are talking about how the Cleveland Browns need to draft a quarterback early, talking about maybe Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. But I think they should go best player available, most likely a left tackle or maybe an edge. Who knows, with like Denzel Ward's stop and starter play, maybe a corner. But I think with the extra third-round pick, we could use that pick to possibly move back into the first round to take a quarterback like Carson Beck or Quinn Ewers, because I think they're a little bit more geared towards what Kevin Stefanski wants to do, because both of them play under center for a decent amount of time. And I think that'll be good for the Browns if they can make that happen. But hopefully we can get a win after the bye week. Go Browns.
As always, appreciate all the voicemails. Casey, I don't want him to force. You can't force a quarterback, especially, it doesn't seem like there's going to be the definitive number one overall pick, Joe Burrow type or Andrew Luck type or that quarterback. And if you don't really like a quarterback, you have so many. I'd like a wide receiver. I'd like, get me somebody that threatens the defense. Get me a left tackle. Sure, I'll take a left tackle. But if you don't have the top overall pick and you aren't 100% certain, this guy's going to be Joe Burrow, find somebody that's going to be a stud for 10 years.
Yeah, the trading back into the first round to get a quarterback at the end of the first has only worked out for a few teams. Now, we have Lamar in our division, so we see that one. People often don't remember that wasn't their first-round pick. They took a tight end, Hayden Hurst, and then traded back up and got Lamar. And obviously that worked out. But most of the time, when you get one of those tweener quarterbacks that have fell out of favor of being a guy, and now they're, probably honestly a top of day two talent, but you force them into the first, his quarterback gets moved up just because of the scarcity. You put yourself in a weird position because then he's a first-round quarterback. There's pressure to play him right away. And if they're not ready, you could ruin them. So I agree with you. If you don't absolutely love one of these quarterbacks, you have enough needs that you don't have to force that. And this is also a front office. Well, I'd be surprised if they trade back out of the first round to accumulate more first rounds to try to go up and get their guy whenever it becomes available and have multiple first to give themselves a better opportunity. I wouldn't discount that. But if you could give me T-Mac from Arizona out wide, I'll gladly take that. I wouldn't even be surprised if they get in that 8 to 12 range of drafting if they win a few games, using one of those picks on something that's not going to make a lot of people happy, but get the best interior offensive lineman on the board. Like, you got to solidify yourself in several areas, and I'm not going to be mad if you draft someone that's not really considered a sexy pick because you do have enough needs.
Oh yeah, and they're most of them are on the offensive side of the ball right now. That offense, we just told you how bad it was. Again. The other thing is, you gotta find somebody. Go find somebody right now who evaluates quarterbacks in college, because you've done a horrible job as an organization, horrible evaluating quarterbacks. So you better start looking at that, because you need to find somebody that can evaluate quarterbacks.
And this particular regime has no practice at it. They've only gotten a fifth rounder out of UCLA and DTR. So they don't even have practice at it themselves because this particular regime hasn't taken that swing. So and they say they do work. I did like something that Barry said in his presser, is that they treat themselves like an expansion team, as if they need every single thing and they have to evaluate every single position. I think that is the correct approach, but they have no practice at it to understand if their process even works. And quarterback's the most definitive one, the one that it's going to have the most spotlight on it. So if you're wrong there, it shines brighter than in most areas. But I agree with you. Like, I kick over every rock, talk to every talent evaluator, every quarterback coach, anyone that you can that has an eye on the college game and what transfers from the college game now from college to the pros, because that's the other thing we don't talk about. Like, a lot of these kids are able to go back to school now because of the NIL, which I think suits them, because colleges aren't in the business of like really preparing quarterbacks for the NFL. College coaches don't worry about that. College coaches are trying to keep their jobs. They're not worried about making sure this guy sees all these third down looks and empty and is able to check and do can calls and get under center. Like, that's not the thing. So you have to be really tight on your evaluation to understand what translates from today's college game to the actual NFL.
Yeah, and where my mind comes up with that from if you go and you look how the 49ers came upon Brock Purdy with the last pick in the draft, they hired Brian Griese as their quarterback coach. They told him, go find us a quarterback you think can play. He had called games of Brock Purdy, went and studied Purdy, and said, I think this guy can be a decent NFL quarterback. So, again, they're out there. Just go find one of them, because whatever you've been doing hasn't worked since '99. No. Whatever you have done, do not do that. It's not working.
Amen. Kick over every rock, talk to everyone you can talk to, but do not do what you've been doing. Don't pick at 22 either. If you get the 22nd pick in the draft, run from it.
All right. I don't think we got to worry about that. We're so far away from getting up to 22.